Hello, it's Monday, the 8th of February, and I'm out for my Soundwalk. I'm Rob Watson, and actually today it's snowing. It started snowing last night. We've got a blast from the east coming in, so I'm going to do something slightly different. I'm just going to go for a walk around the neighbourhood and kind of see what there is, have a mooch around. It's been difficult to get people out because of the lockdown, so instead I'll keep wandering about. So I live in the West End of Leicester. I'm just walking along Sykefield Avenue at the moment, and in front of me are houses, cars, wheelie bins, with a smattering, a dusting of snow in place. I feel as if I've had my central heating on at home because I've been working from home for about the last 3 or 4 months, and it is somewhat frustrating to be living constantly indoors, or more indoors than I'm used to. So getting out for a walk like this is quite refreshing now and then. The snow hasn't stuck on the ground, so the temperature's risen a little bit. When I've been looking at the weather report, the temperature, the weather just never seems to be what it's been predicted to be. It's been very changeable, so we have a prediction for extensive snow, and then it kind of blasts in a little bit milder than was anticipated, and it rains. And we're never in a position where there's like a consistency of weather patterns. Colder than it has been for the last few years. We've had some mild winters over the last few years, and the snow, and the indication of that is the snowdrops have only just come out. I went for a walk yesterday, and in Castle Gardens, as I walked through into the city centre, you can see the snowdrops are flowered. They've pushed through and are flowered, and that means that the crocuses won't be far behind, and then not far behind that will be the daffodils. So it's always good, in a sense, to get an idea that the winter is over its deepest, darkest moment, but that we're still in a position where the cold and the snow can blast in onto the UK, the British Isles. Right, so my plan is to walk up to Braunstone Park, and what I've got with me is a book of seasonal poems, so I might relate some few words from some poems about winter. I'm just about to go into Westcotes Park, which is one of those small parks which is actually it's just on Braunstone Avenue. and it's quite compact, but it's one of those much needed spaces that just gives you a chance to have a turn around the park and relax a little bit, I suppose. There's always dog walkers, and it's never a busy park, but it's definitely one that's valued. So I've just arrived at Western Park, which is a small park just off Braunstone Drive, and the play area is shrouded in snow and it's empty. There's no children out and about. The field, the grass is covered in a light smattering of snow. It's kind of in that in-between state of sticking and melting, and the trees are pretty bare. There's no leaves left on the trees yet. Fortunately, the days are getting a bit longer, so the sun is a little bit higher. It means the light is a bit more improved, and that the contrast of the white so I just paused for a second because there was a little a small tit black and white thing was just kind of hopping from leaf to leaf, branch to branch. So, as I say, I brought out some poems, and I'm not a natural orator, but I thought it could be nice to just share. So this is Henry David Thoreau. Pray to what earth does this sweet cold belong, which asks no duties and no conscience. The moon goes up by leaps, her cheerful path in some far summer stratum of the sky, while stars with their cold shine bedot her way. The fields gleam mildly back upon the sky, and far and near upon the leafless shrubs the snow dust still emits a silvery light. Under the hedge, where drift banks are their screen, the titmice now pursue their downy dreams. As often in the sweltering summer nights, the bee doth droop asleep in the flower cup. When evening overtakes him with his load, by the brooksides, in the still genial night, the more adventurous wander may hear the crystals shoot and form, and winter slow increase his rule by gentlest summer means. This is John Clare, Winter Walk. The holly bush, a sober lump of green, shines through the leafless shrubs, all brown and grey, and smiles at winter, be it e'er so keen, with all the leafy luxury of May. And oh, it is delicious when the day, in winter's loaded garment, keenly blows, and turns her back on sudden falling snows, to go where gravel pathways creep between arches of evergreen that scarce let through a single feather of the driving storm. And in the bitterest day that ever blew, the walk will find some places still and warm, where dead leaves rustle sweet and give alarm to little birds that flirt and start away. That's the sound of Imperial Avenue Infant School with the children chasing snowflakes. I think that's something that we should all be doing when the weather's like this. So I'm heading past the West End Working Men's Club, which is opposite the West End Community Centre. I can't say it's very sonically interesting, other than maybe traffic going past. And there's a postie out delivering her letters. The Bright Centre is locked down, as is much of Leicester. The recycling bins are quite full and overflowing. The West End Centre Working Men's Club has had a mural painted. It was established in 1961. And this part of Leicester, kind of towards Braunstone way, is mainly housing estates. It was built as council housing estates in the 1920s and 30s. And Braunstone Park was built around Braunstone House, which I'll head up to, which is now used as a wedding venue, and that will be my destination. So I'm just approaching the roundabout at Gooding Avenue, and I can see Braunstone Park ahead of me. There are very few. There's nobody. It doesn't look like there's anybody in the park. There might be the occasional dog walker. I think most people are being sensible. One of the weather today, the temperature's quite mild, but the wind chill factor is quite strong, so it feels -5 degrees. So I'm wearing a large winter coat and a fleece and a t-shirt, so I've quite a few layers on, so I'm quite warm. I have my long johns on underneath my jeans, and I've got a fairly sturdy pair of boots as well. But holding the recording device, my hands are getting cold, so I've been putting my gloves on and off. So I'm just at the entranceway up to Braunstone Park, and I'll be heading up to Braunstone Hall, and then I'll head back home. Just a quick walk today. I'll come back at some point to Braunstone Park because there's the nature lake, which people do a lot of fishing, and all the ducks and geese like to congregate. There's a gym, there's a skateboard park, and the field is quite wide and open. Over on the other side of the park, just adjacent to Court Crescent, there are football pitches, artificial turf, astroturf, I think that's the word I was looking for. And the Grove and Adventure Playground is over that side of the park. This is The Snowstorm by Ralph Waldo Emerson. Announced by all the trumpets of the sky arrives the snow, and driving o'er the fields, seems nowhere to alight. The whited air hides hills and woods, the river and the heaven, and veils the farmhouse at the garden's end. The sled and traveller stopped, the courier's feet delayed, all friends shut out, the housemates sit around the radiant fireplace, enclosed in a tumultuous privacy of storm. Come see the north wind's masonry, out of an unseen quarry evermore furnished with tile, with fierce artificer, curves his white bastion with projected roof round every windward stake or tree or door, spreading the myriad hand, his wild work, so fanciful, so savage, naught cares he for number or proportion. Mockingly, or co-op, or kennel, he hangs Parian wreaths. A swan-like form invests the hidden thorn, fills up the farmer's lane from wall to wall. Moga the farmer's sighs, and at the gate, a tampering turret overtops the work. And when his hours are numbered, and the world is all his own, retiring as he were not, leaves when the sun appears, astonished art to mimic in slow structures, stone by stone, built in an age, the mad wind's night's work, the frolic architecture of the snow. So I'm just kind of coming up to the top of the brow in Braunstone Park. One of the things that you forget with Leicester is that it's kind of built in a dip, in a like a bowl, and Leicester's at the centre of it, where the water used to run down and run through. And actually, on surrounding Leicester, the landscape rises. Just geographically. So from one side, it's always interesting, standing at the top of London Road by Victoria Park, you can see across the city over to Bradgate Park and Big John, the monument at the top of the main hill there. So you get a real sense that it's not very far away. But Leicester's in this kind of depression and the weather acts accordingly. When you're up on the hills, you get sweeping winds can blow across and the sunlight changes. When you're in the centre, it feels a little bit more confined. Maybe I need to get out of the city and go for a walk in the hills. That could be an interesting future project as well. I'm up at Winstanley House, which is formerly known as Braunstone Hall, I think. And as ever, there's a useful story of Leicester board here with some information about the background history of the house. Winstanley House, formerly known as Braunstone Hall, has played a central role in the history of Braunstone over millennia. Originally described as Barnow Wood, as early as 1250 AD. Braunstone Park probably formed part of the greater chase of Leicester Forest and was governed by forest law. Early tenants of Braunstone had pasture rights and could use the woods for repairs, but it was held as a succession of lords who held rights for timber and hunting. In February 1955, Braunstone Hall became a Grade 2 listed building and was described by Historic England as a house which survived well with a good interior. And it's enjoyed a rich life since it was built in 1775 for Clement Winstanley as the family's mansion. Designed and built in the Georgian style by local architect William Oldham. It has 3 stories of plain red brick and local Swithland slate and landscape grounds. For 150 years it remained the family home of the Winstanleys until the Leicester Corporation compulsorily purchased the estate and the surrounding open space for housing during the post-war period. However, the park was maintained as an open space for all time and open to the public. The hall itself was transformed into a senior school in 1932, with William Croft as the head teacher, and later became a junior school. It remained as a school until 1996, even during World War II, when it shared the park with the Home Guard, the Royal Artillery, and the American 82nd Airborne Division. After the school closure, it gradually fell into disrepair, but it was given a new lease of life in October 2017 as Winstanley House, a boutique hotel and wedding venue. I'm just at the stable block, and I've actually been to a wedding at Winstanley House, and it was very nice. I got very drunk and walked home in the rain at about 2 o'clock in the morning. Just at the side of the house is a bit of woodland. As with Leicester Parks, they're actually really good at preserving some and pockets of wildlife. And if you, maybe in the springtime, we'll have another look around when things aren't so hidden away, and the mushrooms are out, and the squirrels and the voles and the badgers are about, and there are some butterflies around. But that's for the coming months. Another poem. This is by Kay Ryan, Winter Fear. Is it just winter, or is this worse? Is this the year when outer damp obscures a deeper curse that spring can't fix? When gears that turn the earth won't shift the view? When clouds won't lift, though all the skies go blue? Henry Wordsworth Longfellow. This is Snowflakes. Out of the bosom of the air, out of the cloud folds of her garment shaken, over the woodlands brown and bare, over the harvest fields forsaken, silent and soft and slow descends the snow. Even as our cloudy fancies take sudden shape in some divine expression, even as the troubled heart doth make in the white countenance confession, the troubled sky reveals the grief it feels. This is the poem of the air, slowly in silent syllables recorded. This is the secret of despair, long in its cloudy bosom hoarded, now whispered and revealed to wood and field. Right, it's starting to snow a lot more again now, so I'm heading back home. If you want to take part in one of these sound walks, please do get in contact with me. You can email me rob@robwatsonmedia.net, or I'm on Instagram and Twitter, robwmedia. And should you fancy coming out for a bit of a stroll, you can bring some poetry. We can use the objects around us to make some sounds. This isn't just about giving out information, as it's found on the very useful information boards that are dotted around Leicester, or reading things from Wikipedia, however useful that is. It's also about exploring our thoughts and our feelings and thinking about how the sound environment structures and shapes our understanding and our connection with the world that we live in. Today, with the snow, things are somewhat muffled, somewhat becalmed. But that's quite pleasant. A space to contemplate where we are and what we're doing. Less rushing around, less trying to please people, less trying to keep up with people. When it snows, you can't really dash about anywhere. You've just got to take your time. Keep warm, keep safe, keep socially distant, and until next time, thank you.